found a dead body on my property.
Can you tell if it's
I know,
male or
I'm freaking out.
female?
It's a female. I can see her hair. Well, I just think it's that girl was posted all over town.
She went quiet, so I thought at first she was like holding her breath or something, or because I wasn't choking her that hard, I didn't think, and then she just stopped breathing.
On a chilly October night in 2014, the festive atmosphere of a Halloween party in Frenchtown Township, Michigan, turned into a setting for a chilling disappearance. Chelsea Bruck, dressed in her Halloween best, was last seen alive in the early hours around 3 a.m., leaving the party. But she wasn't alone. She was spotted walking away with a man, a stranger to her friends, his identity cloaked not just by the night, but by the anonymity of the celebration. The disappearance sparked a frantic search that gripped the local community and captured the attention of the nation. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, hope began to wane. The mystery deepened and the questions multiplied. Where was Chelsea? Who was the man she left with? What had happened after they vanished into the night? It wasn't until April 2015, 6 agonizing months later, that the grim reality came to light. Chelsea's remains were discovered in a secluded wooded lot in Ash Township, about 12 miles from where the Halloween party had taken her last known whereabouts. The discovery was devastating. The wooded area, isolated and stark, bore the silent testimony to the tragedy that had unfolded. At the scene, crime scene investigators managed to collect crucial DNA evidence from the leggings Chelsea was wearing. This evidence was a beacon of hope in the dark, a potential key to unlocking the mystery of who was responsible for Chelsea's tragic end. So, what secrets did the DNA evidence reveal? What exactly happened that night? Watch this video till the end as we uncover the details of this case, exploring every lead and every piece of evidence, striving to piece together the events that led to that fateful night. All right, it was a crisp October evening in 2014. Chelsea Bruck, a vibrant 22-year-old waitress at Olga's Kitchen in Frenchtown Township, Michigan, was full of life and dreams. The youngest of 5 siblings, Chelsea had ambitions that reached beyond the confines of her current job. She was planning to enroll at Monroe Community College to pursue a culinary degree, a testament to her passion for food and her desire to forge a path into the culinary world. But just days before Halloween, on October 26th, her bright future took an unexpected and dark turn. That night, Chelsea attended a massive Halloween party hosted by Michael Williams. It was the kind of party that would be remembered not for the festivities, but for the chilling mystery it would soon be associated with. Williams, the host, later claimed he did not know Chelsea and was unaware she was even at his party, which wasn't unusual given that the event drew a crowd of over 600 people. The sheer scale of the gathering made it easy for details to blur and for individuals to go unnoticed. As the night unfolded, the circumstances around Chelsea's disappearance became as murky as the October fog. Witnesses reported seeing her walking alone on the side of the road later that night, her fate uncertain. Testimonies about her condition that evening were contradictory. Some said she had been drinking heavily, while others claimed she drank very little. Amidst the conflicting reports, Laura Taylor, a co-worker and friend of Chelsea's, brought another piece of the puzzle to light. She claimed that Daniel Clay, a name that would soon become more significant in the investigation, had picked up Chelsea. This was somewhat corroborated by another friend, Penny Renee Watkins, who mentioned receiving an unexpected call around 2:30 a.m. offering Chelsea a ride. Watkins, concerned for her friend's well-being, remembered Chelsea wasn't drunk, but was in no condition to drive due to a nose injury sustained during the party. To ease her comfort, Watkins had given Chelsea a few sips of vodka before and after she got hurt, along with a little wine earlier in the evening. Now, Chelsea had come to the party with another close friend, Rebecca Brinson, who noted that they had brought a bottle of wine playfully labeled poison to the event. However, Brinson was unaware of whether Chelsea had had too much to drink that night. As we move deeper into the story of that fateful night, questions linger. What exactly happened to Chelsea Bruck after she left the party? How did an evening meant for celebration turn into a harrowing night of mystery? Let's move on to the chilling details of Chelsea's last known hours and the subsequent investigation that sought to uncover the truth behind her sudden disappearance. Well, in the shadowy aftermath of that Halloween night in 2014, the disappearance of Chelsea Bruck transformed from a desperate search into a grim discovery. It was April 2015 when a construction crew updating equipment in Ash Township, Michigan, stumbled upon a shocking scene: the remains of Chelsea Bruck. Her body, naked and exposed, lay near railroad tracks, a silent testament to a night gone horribly wrong. Chelsea, just 12 miles away from where she last celebrated with friends, was found almost 6 months after she vanished, during which over 1 million missing persons leaflets fluttered across the state, each a plea for her safe return. The remnants of her poison ivy Batman costume, a haunting reminder of her last chosen identity, were discovered separately at a desolate industrial site in Flat Rock. The discovery of these clothes, particularly fragments of the costume in a wooded area of Monroe County, eventually led investigators to a suspect, Daniel Clay. The connection was made through DNA evidence found on the costume pieces, a breakthrough in the case that came after months of dead ends. Clay's apprehension was dramatic. After initially fleeing to a mobile home, he was cornered by deputies. What followed was a chilling 2-hour confession where Clay detailed the events leading to Chelsea's death and his subsequent attempts to conceal his heinous act.
She went quiet, so I thought at first she was like holding her breath or something, or because I wasn't choking her that hard, I didn't think, and then she just stopped breathing and I stopped.
This confession peeled back the layers of the case, revealing the darkness behind the night Chelsea disappeared. An autopsy conducted by the Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed the brutal nature of Chelsea's death. She had succumbed to blunt force trauma. The medical examiner's findings were stark. Chelsea had sustained severe injuries to her head, along with fractures to her face, neck, jaw, and teeth. These findings refuted any speculation of strangulation, as the examiner noted the absence of evidence typical of death by choking, highlighting instead the violent impact that led to her untimely death. Eyewitness accounts from that Halloween night painted a fragmented picture of Chelsea's last known interactions. Jessica Preidel, a co-worker of Bruck who shared a child with Clay, recalled seeing Clay and another individual approaching their group, which included Bruck. Although Preidel's memories of the evening were hazy, she remembered sharing a brief moment with Clay smoking marijuana later that night. The last sighting of Bruck, as per Preidel's recollection, was around 1 or 1:30 a.m. The community and those who knew Chelsea were left reeling as details of her death surfaced. Many believed that Clay not only assaulted but intentionally murdered Chelsea Bruck after a night that began with celebration but ended in tragedy. Next situation took a dark turn, where Daniel Clay emerged as the prime suspect. Initially, Clay insisted he had never met Bruck, claiming complete ignorance of her very existence. But as the investigation deepened, his narrative began to shift dramatically, revealing disturbing details that painted a grim picture of that fateful night. Clay eventually confessed to picking up Bruck after she left the bustling Halloween party. The party, a massive gathering with over 600 attendees, was the last place Chelsea was seen alive. What started as a ride home spiraled into a nightmarish sequence of events. Clay's account took a chilling turn as he described the night's activities transitioning into rough, consensual sex by the roadside. According to him, Bruck had requested to be slapped and choked, a practice known as erotic asphyxiation, aimed at heightening sexual pleasure by restricting oxygen. However, the night took a tragic and reversible turn. Clay claimed that what began as a consensual act ended as an unforeseen tragedy when Bruck accidentally died during the act.
We sat there, and then she's like, all right, well, let's go. Because we had sex there. Then we left.
Okay.
I had sex somewhere else.
Where's somewhere
I
else?
don't
Right,
drive. No, it wasn't Briar. We were just driving around.
Okay.
Having sex. Because she did, like, leave, and I had seen her as I was pulling out. She's like, I'm about to walk. I'm so tired of this. I'm like, stop in, we'll go.
Okay.
She's like, okay.
Okay.
I had sex. It got rough. Like, she likes it right.
I know.
I choked her. She told me to choke her. I choked her. Then we switched because she got underneath me. And, like, I don't know, we were for a minute, and then she kind of stopped, and she went limp, so I stopped, and I'm like, and I started tapping her face, and I guess I choked her too hard or something.
Okay.
I wasn't even choking her that hard, I didn't think.
Okay.
I've got girlfriends that like to be choked and stuff. I know how to do it. Like, I didn't realize her bones were brittle or whatever. I freaked out. I was wasted.
Okay, so hold on and let's stop. Now, you feel like a lot of just went off your chest, don't you?
Yeah, because it's something that...
It's something that eats you up. All right.
Much. I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't remember.
Without an explanation, you realize you're going to look like an animal. A monster.
I know.
You know that.
I was blacked out. I
Looking
don't...
for
What am I supposed to say? Like,
you remember details.
I remember
after.
details.
You remember Daniel.
I remember
You
parts.
just don't want to say.
I remember parts.
So that part we need you to remember.
I don't know. Like, I remember going like this and hitting on it and trying to wake her up after I couldn't give her CPR. I could get the ones here. The jaw thing, I literally have no idea how I did that unless, like, when I was getting out of the car, I hit her head in the door or something, maybe.
And it would have had to have been a smash.
I mean, not on purpose.
I could see that.
That I could understand if I did it not on purpose. I was upset and I was losing my mind.
Panicked and unsure what to do next, Clay attempted cardiopulmonary resuscitation when Bruck stopped breathing, but his efforts were in vain. Overwhelmed and frightened, he then drove around for approximately 40 minutes, grappling with the reality of her death. Instead of seeking help or driving to a hospital, Clay made the fateful decision to hide Bruck's body. He drove to a secluded spot near some train tracks, about 10 miles from where the party took place. Exhausted and desperate, he carried her body into the woods, concealing it under tree branches. As fatigue set in, he moved her deeper into the forest, covering her once more with branches in an effort to hide his grim deed from the world. The medical examiner, however, contradicted Clay's version of events. The autopsy revealed that Bruck had died from blunt force trauma to the head, not asphyxiation, as Clay had told. This critical piece of evidence cast doubt on Clay's entire story, suggesting that the circumstances surrounding Bruck's death were far more violent than an accident during a consensual act. Daniel Clay's continuously changing story, combined with his immediate decision to hide the body rather than seek help, painted a suspicious and damning picture. His actions post-incident, choosing to dispose of Bruck's body in a remote wooded area instead of calling authorities, added layers of guilt to his already questionable account. As the investigation into Chelsea Bruck's tragic death unfolded, what initially seemed like a simple case of accidental death began to spiral into a complex murder trial, filled with twists and uncertainties. Initially, some believed that Chelsea's injuries might have been the result of a tragic accident, perhaps linked to an incident earlier in the evening when she supposedly walked into a pole, injuring her nose after consuming alcohol. However, as forensic experts delved deeper into the medical examination, the narrative began to shift dramatically, painting a much more sinister picture of her last hours. The presence of blood was the first clue that raised suspicions among investigators. The severity of the fractures found on Chelsea's skull was far too extreme to be explained by a simple stumble into a pole. This discrepancy between the initial assumptions and the gruesome reality uncovered by the autopsy hinted at a more violent cause behind her injuries. Dr. Lee Halavarti, the medical examiner, became a pivotal figure in the case. Her expertise and thorough analysis brought critical insights to light. While examining Chelsea's remains, Dr. Halavarti noted the possibility that a log found near Chelsea's body could have caused some of the injuries post-mortem. However, she quickly dismissed this as the primary cause of death. Her professional judgment led her to a stark and unsettling conclusion. Chelsea had died from multiple hittings to the head. This finding was crucial in shifting the case from a possible accident to a deliberate act of violence. Dr. Halavarti's firm belief that the injuries were inflicted by someone, coupled with the positioning and nature of the wounds, pointed directly to foul play. She strongly suspected that Daniel Clay, the last person seen with Chelsea, was responsible for these brutal injuries. Her testimony laid the groundwork for a deeper investigation into Clay's actions and his potential motive, transforming him from a mere acquaintance of Chelsea to the prime suspect in the murder. As the trial progressed, the courtroom became a battleground for the truth, with forensic science playing a central role. Every piece of evidence was scrutinized, from the bloodstains to the severity of the skull fractures, each element adding weight to the accusation against Clay. The medical findings not only challenged the initial assumptions, but also painted a grim picture of Chelsea's final moments. A young life cut tragically short, not by accident, but by a violent act. This chilling case continued to unravel, drawing attention from the community and the media alike. So what happened next? Let's check out the court verdict. From the moment Chelsea's body was discovered, draped in the eerie remnants of her Halloween costume and marred by severe injuries, the evidence began to stack up against Clay. His connection to the crime was solidified with the damning discovery of his DNA on Chelsea's blood-stained costume, a piece of evidence that turned the tide irreversibly against him. Initially, Clay tried to frame the narrative of that fateful night as a horrific accident. He told the authorities outright that he had killed Bruck, suggesting a night gone tragically wrong. However, the severity and nature of Chelsea's injuries, a multitude of fractures across her face and significant trauma to her head, painted a different story. These were not the markings of an accidental encounter. They were clear signs of a violent assault. As the case unfolded, more incriminating evidence came to light. On the day of arrest, overwhelmed by the gravity of his actions, Clay made several desperate phone calls. In voicemails left to his ex-girlfriend Jessica Prydel and his then-girlfriend Kelly Richter, he confessed to the murder of Chelsea Bruck, stating that he had effed up big time and anticipated a long absence, hinting at the lifelong imprisonment that awaited him. These confessions, captured in the solitude of voice messages, offered a chilling glimpse into his mindset at the time and served as critical pieces of evidence in sealing his fate. The trial, which stretched over nearly 2 years, was a painstaking process filled with testimonies, forensic evidence, and the heartbreaking impact statements from Chelsea's family. In a poignant moment during the sentencing in July 2017, Clay faced the consequences of his actions. He was handed a life sentence without the possibility of parole. In a gesture of remorse, he accepted a Bible from Chelsea's mother and issued an apology, though the depth of his sincerity was for her and the court to weigh.
I will live with this for every day for the remainder of my life. I mean, it's something that I would wake up thinking about, something that I would go to sleep thinking about.
We've done that for 33 months.
I'm sorry for everything.
What's very clear to me, Mr. Clay, you're a liar, a rapist, and a killer.
His defense team made a last-ditch effort in 2019 to cast doubt on the origins of Chelsea's injuries, suggesting that the blunt force trauma could have been caused by another means. However, the jury was not swayed. They returned a verdict of felony murder, affirming that Clay's actions directly led to Chelsea's death under circumstances that reflected a callous disregard for human life. In the quiet expanses of Frenchtown Township, Michigan, a community known for its serene living and close-knit neighbors, the tragic death of 22-year-old Chelsea Bruck marked a somber chapter in its history. Chelsea, a vibrant young woman with dreams of a future that promised so much, met a tragic end much too soon. Her aspirations to further her education and fulfill her potential were abruptly cut short one fateful Halloween night by someone she believed was a friend, someone she trusted enough to accept a ride from. The impact of Chelsea's disappearance and subsequent murder reverberated far beyond the boundaries of the small township, which boasts a population density significantly lower than bustling urban centers like Detroit. In such a tight-knit community where such crimes are rare, the effect was profound and deeply felt. Every resident felt the ripple of Chelsea's loss, a young life snuffed out, leaving a void in the hearts of those who knew her and even those who didn't. Chelsea's disappearance wasn't just local news. It captured the attention of neighboring states and made national headlines, drawing eyes to a lengthy and convoluted trial that sought to bring justice to a grieving family and a shocked community. The story of her tragic end served as a grim reminder of the vulnerabilities that young individuals face, even in the settings where they feel safe. Her death left her loved ones and friends in a state of mourning and loss, a poignant reminder of the bright life that once was. Chelsea is dearly missed, her absence a constant echo in the lives of those who were close to her. She had an undeniable impact on her community, not only in life, but also in the legacy of awareness she left behind. As we recount the story of Chelsea Bruck, it's crucial to remember the lessons her story teaches us, especially as another Halloween approaches. This tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the importance of safety during celebrations. When attending parties, especially during holidays like Halloween, which are synonymous with fun, but also pose risks, it is essential to prioritize safety. Always make plans to go to, stay at, and leave events with people you trust. Look out for one another and make collective safety your priority. Chelsea's story is not just a tale of loss and tragedy. It is a call to action for awareness, vigilance, and community safety. As we reflect on her life and the circumstances for her untimely death, let us renew our commitment to looking after one another, ensuring that her legacy is not just one of sorrow, but also prompting us to protect and care for our community members. And that wraps up today's video. We really hope you found it informative and learned something new. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to share them in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon if you haven't already, so you never miss out on our daily informative videos. Thanks so much for tuning in, and best of luck.